Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. It's Hayley here. Today, we're going to talk about my number one tip to recovering on a Monday after a weekend of eating all the things. I did an Instagram live on this. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram. It's my name, Hayley, Hayley _ Sohn, Sohn. And people were going crazy on it. So I was like, have I not done this on a podcast yet? And I hadn't, I don't think. I looked through and I was like, no. All right, we're going to do it. So if you find yourself on a Monday, on every Monday, feeling kind of like that food hangover, like you really overdid it and you're just not feeling so good, you're feeling tired and groggy and just bloated and like terrible, this podcast is going to be really helpful for you. And the overall message in this podcast is really to help you get closer to being the person that you want to be with food. Like having this really calm, quiet, effortless relationship with food where you're not constantly trying to fix something. You're not constantly trying to undo. You're not like racing to do all the things. I used to have this very like hustle relationship with food. I was always like trying to fix something. I was racing to lose the weight, and it just never worked. It never worked. I was always spinning my wheels and I was working so hard, ironically. And I know it was never getting anywhere. And that's how so many of my clients are. So if that's you, this podcast is going to be really helpful for you. We're going to go through a lot of pieces, and then like of course my number one tip, like the only thing that you need to do in order to recover. So what I do want to talk about first is what you're doing right now. I have talked on this podcast and I talk a lot about it on social media, the pendulum effect. This is what a lot of us are in. So if you pull a pendulum all the way up to one side, it's going to swing equal and opposite distance to the other side when you drop it. And this is where so many of us are with our food. So on one side of the pendulum, we're pulling it all the way up to one side and we're overeating. And as soon as that drops, we are on the other side of that, equal and opposite, trying to fix the overeating. We're trying to diet, we're trying to restrict, we're trying to get ourselves to lose weight with all of these actions. And it doesn't work. The more we do both of those things, the more we keep ourselves in this vicious cycle of overeating and then trying to fix it by overeating and undereating and dieting and restricting and overexercising and doing all of these reactive things. It's this whole reactive relationship with food. I overdid it. Now I gotta react and do something about it. And the doing something about it when the thing that we're doing is like dieting and counting and micromanaging ourselves, what that really just leads to is more overeating on the other side. It is truly this really vicious cycle. It's this pendulum that's always swinging. It's always swinging from one extreme to the next. And what you want is this relationship with food where that pendulum isn't moving at all. It's just calm and quiet, and you feel peace with food. You feel effortlessness. You don't have to do anything. It's not on your mind 24/7. You're not waking up thinking about what you ate last night and what you're going to eat today and how you're going to fix this and what the scale might say. And I mean, all of those things where you can just wake up, clean slate, not really think about food, go about your day, have a nice meal, enjoy it, and then like forget about it and move on with your day. That's what we want. But this pendulum, this vicious cycle of overeating and trying to fix it will perpetuate as long as you are doing one of those two things. So we have to try and practice getting ourselves into this place that is that calm, quiet, effortless relationship with food that we want. And I'm going to talk about that. But the more we practice overeating and then dieting, or whatever you call it when you try to fix your overeating, whatever that looks like for you, you might not call it dieting, but you are probably doing some form of micromanaging your food. The more you practice that, the more you're not going to be able to achieve this quiet, peaceful, effortless relationship with food. So I will also say, after a day or a couple days of like overeating, or just whether okay, again, you can call it many things. I say overeating. I might say like you had a cheeseburger and french fries. That might be a metaphor, but whatever that looks like for you. You had one meal, you had 10 meals that were heavy. You had a bunch of snacks, you had a bunch of sugar, you had a bunch of, some people are like, it's gluten for me. Whatever it is, you had too much. You had more than is comfortable now. What your body really wants is time and space to recover. We talk a lot about detoxing in this country, and it's kind of like become an obsession with us. What I want to say is that in order to detox, you don't have to do anything. Your body naturally detoxes and will naturally detox. What it needs in order to do that is time and space. It doesn't need special juice shots or a cleanse with pills and a regimen. It doesn't really need any of that to detox. It will do it on its own. It just needs time and space to do that. And you give it that time and space by not eating anything, by not going on a crash diet, by not stressing yourself out about what smoothie, shake, pill, gluten-free, dairy-free thing that you're going to have today. You have to really give it that time and space so that it can work through the extra, and it will do that on its own beautifully. Beautifully. So, all of that said, my tip, and this is what I teach in my program. So all of my clients learn this from me. When we talk about like if we overdid it, if we ate something, if we feel bloated, if we just, body's not working right, whatever it is, long weekend, this is what I teach my clients to do. The only thing that you have to do on Monday when you wake up and you feel terrible is wait until your body tells you that it's ready for fuel. Essentially, what I'm saying is you don't have to do anything. Nothing. You just wait until your body gives you the signal, okay, I've processed through everything. You can fuel now if you'd like. You don't have to. You can wait still if you want. You always have that option. But that's really all you have to do. And what this is also, when you do that, when you practice doing nothing, you are also practicing having this calm, quiet relationship with food, where it's not on your mind all the time. You're not stressing out about it. You're not reacting to what you did yesterday. You're just calm and quiet. Now, the first couple of times you do this and you haven't ever practiced this before, your brain is going to go to whatever it has practiced before. So you really have to bring in a conscious effort to be calm and quiet. But I'll say, like, doing nothing is the definition of like quiet, right? I mean, and effortless, doing nothing. That is like, that's it. But your brain's probably going to go to like whatever you've done before. Okay, we got to do the things. We got to get on it. We got to fix this. We got to like whatever it's going to say. You have to redirect it back to no, no, no. I'm practicing calm and quiet, and I'm practicing doing nothing until my body lets me know it's time to fuel. And that is truly giving your body the time and space that it needs to process through everything so that that bloat by tomorrow is it's your body has worked through it. So that your whatever you ate yesterday or for the last 2 or 3 days or drank isn't going to have as big of an impact on the scale as it might if you're jumping in, just throwing fuel down your throat right and left out of like stress, out of trying to distract yourself from how guilty and shameful you're feeling today because of what you did yesterday. So another thing I'll mention, I actually didn't have this in my notes, but it just occurred to me. I've talked about this guilt, shame, regret cycle before as well. When we eat something that we didn't want to eat and we make ourselves feel so bad about that. We beat ourselves up. I can't believe you did that. That was horrible. It was just, oh my God, it's so gross. Like you should be so ashamed of yourself. And we feel so bad because of what we tell ourselves about that then we want to eat to get out of those emotions. So that's another thing you might encounter on Monday morning is that guilt, shame, regret cycle where you're just beating yourself up and you're feeling so emotionally terrible that now you want to eat just to get out of that. And that can be part of that knee-jerk reaction as well. It was part of mine back in the day when I struggled with this. I would overdo it on the weekends, and then Monday morning I was like jumping into this crash diet to fix it. And at the same time, part of that whole mentality was trying to like distract myself from how much I was beating myself up for whatever I'd done over the weekend. And that's just, it's not useful. It doesn't help at all. This actually came up on a coaching call that I had today. And one of my clients was like, just kind of going into that down that road of beating herself up for whatever happened the last couple of days and like why did I do this, and she was like coming to me asking me like why did I do this, and I was like it's not important why you did it. I mean we will work on that in a micro way over time. But just sitting here and asking that question isn't useful. The answer that we're going to get isn't really, what are we going to do with that? What we need to do right now is just move you forward from beating yourself up about it. And just see that that's not useful. It's not helping you at all. It's keeping you stuck. And it's been keeping you stuck for the last 20 years. Let's just decide how you want to move forward and move on from this, instead of asking all of these like deeper questions. And that's what you can do too. And the first step for that is to really just see that you're beating yourself up right now, to be able to hear those thoughts, to be able to see them, and just decide this isn't useful for me. What I want to practice right now is calm and quiet and just being at peace with this, just allowing this. And that takes practice. Doing this the first time might not be a home run. One of my clients was like, it wasn't a home run for me. I love it so much because I use this sports analogy a lot. Whether you play sports or not, I think we can all kind of understand it. But I use this sports analogy a lot of like, we're just practicing. We're just discovering what we've been practicing that hasn't worked, and then we're going to decide what we want to practice. And so she's always like, wasn't a home run. That one I need to practice more. And it's the same for you. The first time you do this, the first 5 times you do this might feel like you are whiffing the ball. You are hitting, um, man, I don't know baseball. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say like pop shot. That's not even. Pretty sure that's not a baseball term. I know tennis a lot better. Let's see. And we say whiffing. You're just whiffing the tennis ball over and over again. It might feel like that. But the more you practice it, the more you're intentional about it. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, this is where I am. This is what keeps popping up for me. But I want to practice this. This is what I want it to look like. And I'm just going to practice it as much as I can consciously see what's happening and redirect. I'm going to practice calm. I'm going to practice not putting anything in this vessel other than water until my body tells me it's ready. That's what I'm going to practice. Okay. So that is my tip. And I have some troubleshooting for you. So I kind of just went through some of it. But I will run through a couple other things here really quick. So your brain is probably going to be talking to you a lot on Monday about what you should do and all of the things because that's what it's practiced before. So understanding where you are now, where you're starting out at, and that you don't want to continue to do this. And the reason is because it's not serving you to lose weight. It's not helping you. It's keeping you in that pendulum effect and that vicious cycle. You need to figure out where you are now. And you can do that really easily by journaling. And all you have to do really is just ask yourself, like, what am I thinking right now about this situation? And start writing. Pen, paper, start writing. You will have answers. That will tell you, okay, this is where I am right now. And what you can do then is you can read through those thoughts, you can say them out loud. If there's someone that you trust, maybe you have your own coach, or if you want to come work with me, you can say them to me. But a lot of times when we see them on paper and then we say them out loud, we realize how absolutely stupid they are, for lack of a better word. How just like ridiculous the things that our brain has come up with and repeated over and over and over. And we didn't even realize they were spinning out there in the back of our mind. How just like, oh my God, this makes no sense. This isn't even logical. I don't even believe this, but it's just been going on in the background for so long and I didn't know it was there that I never questioned it. So some of them that might come up, especially if we're talking about waiting to fuel until we have a physical need for it, is this concern that we might pass out, that we'll get so hungry that we will be in physical danger. And so I went through this recently with a client, and these were some things that she brought up. I'm worried I might pass out. I'm worried that this physical hunger might like put me in danger. And as she said them, like I really didn't even have to coach her that much on them, because as she said them, she was like, I'm just seeing that this isn't really that logical. Like, of course I'm not going to pass out from not eating for 2 hours. Of course that's not going to happen. She's like, maybe after a couple of days, but it's really not likely just with a couple hours. Like, this isn't realistic. She's like, yeah, I might experience some physical discomfort, but then she started I was asked her about that and she started walking herself through it. And she was like, yeah, the physical discomfort, it comes and goes. It's not just this constant thing that I'm being distracted by or being made uncomfortable by. It kind of like, it comes in waves and then it passes and I forget about it and it might come back, but then I kind of forget about it. And she's like, it's really not that big of a deal. So you need to do this for yourself. Where are you now? What are all your thoughts about waiting to fuel? Your thoughts about not doing a knee-jerk reaction diet? Everything. Your thoughts about what you ate yesterday and how you're beating yourself up now. Get all of those out and start saying them out loud and realize how maybe just completely silly they are. And any ones that you're really hung up on, those are the ones then to start working through, to start putting more thought towards, okay, how can I change? How can I move the needle on this? I want to take this thought that I believe right now and find a place that serves me better that I can still believe. One of my clients today said, there's two truths to every, how did she put it? There's two truths to like every thought or every situation. There's a negative one and there's one that feels better than that. And we just want to choose the one that feels better than that. And that's such a wonderful way of putting it. That's what you're looking for. You're probably practicing the negative one right now. You want to find the one that you can believe that's better than that, that feels better than that. And that's what you want to practice. Okay, you may also on a Monday morning, after overdoing it, especially if you ate a lot of carbs or sugar, you might have a lot of false hunger signals. So if you're going by the rule of waiting to fuel until you have a physical need for it, and you're having false hunger signals, that's important to know. So what you need to do is drink a lot of water. And what I like to do is eat a tablespoon or two of coconut oil. It is a pure fat. It's not going to activate your metabolism, but it will help to regulate those hormones. It will help to bring down your insulin a little bit and balance everything out so that you're not getting a lot of false hunger signals. And I'll say the more often you practice this, the better your body gets at adapting to that, adapting to waiting to fuel, to having some fat to like balance out its hormones, and to being able to ride out periods of not eating. For me, that feels amazing. I do that now all the time. There was a point in my life where I really didn't want to do that, and it maybe didn't feel as good for me, but the coconut oil has gotten me to this place where that feels so good. I have so much energy. I really feel awesome physically in my body. But you have to figure out what that is for you. There's a reason I don't talk about food, diet, or what I eat a lot on this podcast or anywhere. It's because I don't want you to take what I do and copy it verbatim for yourself, because you have to figure out what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. And you got to discover that on your own. Again, so many things happened on our coaching call today, but somebody today was kind of working through this, and she was like, what works for everybody else? And I was like, oh, nobody answered that. You got to figure this out for yourself. You're not just going to take what everyone else does. That's what our natural thing to do is. We want to just take what everyone else does and do it for ourselves, because we're used to doing that, because that's what dieting is. It's someone else's idea of what you should be eating. And we're so used to being told what to eat that we can't listen to ourselves anymore. And the most important opinion here is your body's. It's not mine, and it's not some other experts. It's your body. So you got to get back to being able to listen to your body and let that make your food decisions. Really important. Okay. And then emotional support. You might be feeling all over the board on a Monday morning. You might be feeling shame and guilt and regret. You might be feeling stress and pressure and like wanting to rush it. I got to fix this. I got to do something about this. And what you really want is calm and quiet and peace. And you're going to have to practice that, bringing yourself back to that. If you think about those emotions that I just said, other than calm, quiet, and peace, the guilt, shame, and regret is on one side of the pendulum, and that pressure, hurry, rush, and fix it now is on the other side. And you're on this emotional roller coaster swinging between those two places, and neither one is fun or good or enjoyable or how you want to be living your life. Yet here you are swinging between those two places. And all of your emotions are created by your thoughts. So in order to get your emotions to that calm, quiet place where you don't feel the need to diet and restrict and go crazy, you really just feel the need to listen to your body and do the best thing for you. In order to get there, you have to align your thoughts with that calm. I want to wait to fuel until my body is ready for it. I want to feel light and energized. I want to not be thinking about food all the time for the rest of my life. But find that place for you. And if you need help with that, please reach out to me. You can, I mentioned my Instagram handle, but go to my Instagram and send me a message. A lot of people do. Don't be shy and ask me, how can I do this? Because I can help you with it. But really, your emotions come from your thoughts. So if we're trying to stop having guilt, shame, and regret and stop having pressure, stress, and rush to fix it, we got to take it to our thoughts. What am I thinking? Because my thoughts are creating those in the first place. So I need to find new thoughts that are going to create different emotions for me. Okay? So that's what I have for you today. I know this is going to be helpful, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.